I don't know if I can get this out, but I've got to try and explain what happened to me. It started innocently enough. "Don't forget your keys," read the first message, scrawled on a sticky note in loopy letters. It'd been left on my fridge door. It immediately grabbed my attention because, at the time, I lived alone. I had no memory of writing it, and the handwriting didn't match mine or anyone I knew. I wasn't sure how to react. In the end, I just tossed the note and went to work. The second note came a few days later, left on my kitchen counter. The same distinctive loopy handwriting. "Make sure to pack a lunch today." Again, I was unsettled. Now, any normal person might have reported this to the police, but during that time, I was going through a major depressive spell. I'd moved to a new city, away from all my family and friends. I'd started a new job that I quickly realised I hated, and it didn't pay nearly enough. Home was lonely. I had trouble getting out of bed each morning, let alone filing a report that I'm sure the police wouldn't take seriously anyway. Even more stressed, I crumpled up the note. However, I ended up packing a small lunch for myself. Usually I don't bother, I don't put in the effort. I just ate at the cafe. But against my better judgment, I fulfilled the wishes of that note. Anyway, that day, the cafeteria was closed. Their fridge had broken or something overnight, and the frozen lunches they had and the food inside they had all gone bad. Management just figured it was easier to shut down for the day. A feeling of unease settled in my stomach after learning the news. It was as if the note had somehow predicted it. Anyway, the notes, they continued throughout the following weeks. They would typically show up at random days, no more than 3 notes a day. They were all left in really obvious places in my apartment, all on sticky notes and all in that unfamiliar, loopy handwriting. And they began to grow more and more prophetic. "Take the I-80 today. There'll be a bad accident on your way home. Janet's going to offer you some cookies at the office. Politely decline. It will give you food poisoning. Mary had been on a diet. Compliment her on her weight loss. She'll end up thinking well of you." Of course, I tested the notes to see if they were accurate. Every time I ignored their advice, whatever it warned against came true. One day a note said to pack an umbrella, and I purposely didn't. It was forecasted to be sunny that day, so any normal person wouldn't think to pack one. But sure enough, I got soaked that evening walking to my car. I was incredibly curious about the notes. There were so many questions I had about them, and those unanswered questions just kept festering and festering in my head. I tried. Honestly, I tried. I wrote notes back. I left notes in return, but I never got a response. I'd speak out loud sometimes, ask questions, as if, or in case the note writer could somehow hear me. But this only made me feel foolish. I occasionally made a surprise visit home at odd hours, just to see if I could catch the note writer leaving their notes. Of course, I never caught them. I tried installing cameras in my apartment, even making sure all of the cameras were hidden. You couldn't see them, they were completely out of sight. But the very next day, I found every single one. Every camera completely torn out and placed on the kitchen table with a single note. The note read, "Never do that again." The notes stopped coming after that, which made me deeply regretful. I'd grown accustomed to the notes. I'd begun to rely on them even. They had significantly improved my way of life over the last few months. Both mentally, financially, and socially. I'd actually started making friends at the office thanks to their advice. And for the first time, My manager, who before the notes didn't pay me any attention, now valued my presence and would ask for my opinion on projects. And it was no secret I was on my way to a promotion. Could I still do without the notes? I also valued the notes as a friend. As weird as that sounds. More like a guardian angel. Wherever they were from, whatever they were always looking out for me, protecting me. They had my back. Without them, the future was suddenly unknown, dangerous. Every time some mild annoyance popped up from that point, from bad traffic to stressful work situations, even mild paper cuts, I thought about how all this could just be avoided if I still had the notes. Anyway, the next week, a bright green sticky note appeared on my bathroom mirror. Don't forget to call Mum. It's her birthday. I nearly cried. I decided to sack my investigation, just accept things as they were. And slowly, ever so slowly, the fog of my depressive spell began to lift, and I could feel myself returning to how I used to be. My confidence rose, and for the first time in a while, I felt it in an equilibrium with life. I went out. I cracked jokes. I even managed to clean up my apartment. I managed to get a girlfriend, somehow. Her name was Amanda. I met her at a pub when I was out with my buddies. The best part of all of this, for some reason, she seemed to actually be into me. I mean, she was gorgeous, way out of my league, honestly. She had long, urban hair, reached down her back, soft brown eyes. Her laugh was lovely, and her lemon-scented perfume, intoxicating. She was the type of girl you could just chat to for hours, and never run out of things to talk about. The relationship was still new, so I was trying not to plan out the whole future together in my head, but she was so lovable, it was hard not to. At some point, I briefly thought about telling her about the notes. I've always wanted to tell someone about it, but I never really had anyone to tell up until now. I decided not to, however, afraid she might think I was crazy. There was no point so early in the relationship making her think I was a loon. Plus, I was afraid the notes might stop again if whoever was leaving them clearly didn't want me looking into them. How would they react if I told somebody about them? So at the moment, I kept it to myself. Amanda had a hobby, cooking. She invited me to her house on Saturday for, in her words, the best fucking spaghetti you'll ever eat. I was pumped, since this was the first time I would actually visit her house. I was in a good mood that evening, as I was getting ready for the date. I hummed to myself happily, thinking about how lovely this was going to be, and went downstairs to grab my keys. On the kitchen counter was a new hot pink sticky note. I picked it up instinctively. It just said, "Kill your girlfriend." My brain just stopped for a moment. I read it once, read it twice, third time, the words flashing through my brain, but just hitting an error every time. I sat the note down, gulped, feeling nauseous. Anxiously, I went to my car and started driving. I tried not to think about the note, but the words just kept circling and circling in my mind. Kill your girlfriend, kill your girlfriend, kill your girlfriend, kill your girlfriend. The notes have never failed me before. They were always in my best interest, at least as far as I knew, which was admittedly not much. Maybe this time they were wrong. Maybe it wasn't meant to be taken literally. Kill could be a synonym for breakup, right? My mind kept trying to make up poor excuses the whole way there. By the time I arrived, I was a sweaty mess, not a lick calmer. I pulled down the sun visor to check my face, and a sticky note just fluttered out. I went cold. The notes never appeared outside my house before. Hands shaking, I picked up that note and read it. It just said, "Kill Amanda. Take the gun from the glove box and shoot her." I looked at my glove box. I did, indeed, keep a gun on me. I wanted to puke. To believe this wasn't happening. Again, I just ignored the note. Walked up to Amanda's house, trying to shake the message from my mind. She answered the door almost immediately after I rang the doorbell. "Hey, what's up?" she said with a bright smile. But when she saw my face, the smile dropped. "Hey, you okay, Gary? What's wrong?" she said, sounding legitimately concerned. Nothing," I lied, trying to force a smile. "Oh, well, actually, you know what? I've got a bit of a stomachache." "Oh, come in, she said, ushering me in. The inside of her house was cute, homely. She fretted over me, worried, and she led me over to the kitchen table. She then took my hand and rubbed it comfortingly. "Well, if you're not feeling well, if you're not up to spaghetti, we can always have it another time. Don't worry about it. Do you want any antacids or anything?" I smiled. The way she was so concerned for me over a simple stomachache made me fall in love with her all over again. My heart panged with both love and guilt. The aroma of cooked spaghetti was extremely strong. And even though she said it was fine, I knew it would probably be a bummer for her to pack away all the spaghetti after she just made it. "Nah, I'm fine, sweetie," I said. "I probably have a stomachache because of maybe I ate too much today." "I was looking forward to your spaghetti so much as well." Her smile returned. I always loved how fast she smiled at things. "Well then, Mr. Hungry, let me grab you a bowl." She left for the kitchen. And this is when I reclined and sighed, put my hand in my pocket. I felt a crinkle of paper. Shit. I pulled the paper out of my right pocket. "Take your chair and bash her head in." I had a hard time controlling my breathing as I stuffed the note back in my pocket. I also felt paper in my left pocket. And again my mind screaming for me not to, but I pulled it out anyway, realizing that it was actually two notes crinkled together. Shakily I unwrinkled the first note. "Do not eat spaghetti, drugged." "Oh, what's that, Gary?" asked Amanda, behind me. I nearly jumped out of my skin. I stuffed the notes back in my pocket. "Oh, just some note from work, I forgot, packing all my things and stuff," I said in a weird voice. She frowned, looked like she wanted to say something, but then thought better of it. "Hey babe," she said gently, handing me a bowl of spaghetti. It looked heavenly, but I just wanted to puke. She sat next to me with her bowl. She rested her hand in my hand and looked at me excitedly, expectantly. I stared at her blankly. "Well, take a bite, silly," she said, gesturing towards the bowl. I'm sorry, I really need to use the bathroom." So I just jumped up, started looking for the bathroom. She jumped up after me, looking confused. "Gary, what's wrong? You've been acting so weird." When I found the right door, I went in, locked the door behind me. She kept knocking and knocking. Gary, she kept shouting. "Seriously, what's wrong with you? Is it stomachache? Is it that bad? Talk to me, Gary, please." So I backed up against the bathroom wall, sank down to the floor. I pulled out the two notes from my left pocket again, this time reading the second note, and my heart just sank. She is not Amanda.